What's up, Michigan fans? Welcome to another episode of the Believe in Michigan podcast. I am Brandon Brown, joined as always by Grant Perry. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we jumped on here. I think we previewed Oklahoma, but now we're here to talk about how that game went a little bit. Take a look at CMU this week. And by the way, I discovered this yesterday as Grant and I were recording something else. Grant and I are mortal enemies this week. Central Michigan alum. Grant, obviously a Michigan alum. We're going to battle. Michigan expected to win by a lot in that one. We'll talk about that one in just a little bit. But let's rewind a little bit, Grant. Talk about Saturday's matchup in Norman, Oklahoma. Michigan comes out 6.5-point underdogs. I think maybe 5.5 it moved to, and they end up losing by 11, 24-13. And things just kind of looked out of sync all day. I mean, the defense couldn't quite get off the field when they needed to, couldn't get a stop. John Mateer, Oklahoma's quarterback, was very effective running the ball. Michigan couldn't sustain drives, couldn't put it in the end zone. I don't know, man. I don't think there was any one thing, I don't think there was any one thing specifically that kept Michigan from being successful, and I don't think any one thing was horrible. That it didn't click all day long. Now Michigan's sitting at 1-1, and it's a bummer because I felt like it was a winnable game. Like, Oklahoma didn't look like a world beater to me. Like, I think Michigan, with a better game plan and a little bit better approach, might have been able to win that game, but here they are, 1-1.
Yeah, and I mean, for as messy and not put together as it looked, I mean, we went in the fourth quarter down 8. Like, we were right within reach, and you got to imagine if from the start to finish, if the game plan was a little bit better, a little bit more answers for Bryce, not limiting. I can't even speak this morning. Not limiting him. Excuse me. Good Lord. You think that, we'd maybe have a better chance late in that game. But, just with the flow of the game, the offense, I felt like it was 3 and out. And the only times that we did feel like we had a little bit of momentum, it was the referees, man. It was almost like we had a Big Ten crew for that game. The running into the kicker. There was another play they gave us the muff punt. I mean, there was a lot of plays that kept us in that game, and it's almost like Oklahoma. I would say they dominated that game. They were in control for the most of that game, but it was almost as if Oklahoma played probably one of their worst games. I mean, only 3 games on the year, but didn't play up to what they could, and we were still in that game. So, like, if they play any better, I think that's 15, 16, maybe even a 17-point lead, just because the flow of our offense, man. We couldn't get into a rhythm. The lack of quarterback run game while watching Mateer run definitely wasn't enjoyable to watch. And then just the downfield pass game. There's no answers. We try to go east and west, and there's some looks in there of when we set these screens up, we're in 12 personnel, and you think, oh, we're going to be able to outrun these backers and get leverage, but it just doesn't click. So therefore, it just kind of looks like a pile of hot garbage. So going forward, man, you got to get in the rhythm, man. Got to get in the rhythm. Defense played decent. I mean, they shut down the run game as far as from the running back position. So, like, I mean, they held their own. They kept us in the game. There's a few big plays like that throw down the sideline. Mateer breaks out of a tackle. If that's a sack, there's not that big completion down the sideline. There's a lot of little things to fix. But for the most part, I mean, if Oklahoma goes on to be a top tier team, I mean, we stuck in it for 3 quarters without really an offensive game plan. So positives and negatives to look at, lot to take in after this game for sure.
Yeah, that you make a good point, actually. I mean, Oklahoma did a lot to keep Michigan in that game. It probably could have been worse. On the flip side, if Michigan plays better and does some things, then it kind of tightens back. So I don't know. It just felt like a little bit of a disjointed game, maybe in both directions. I mean, I obviously haven't really studied it or looked at it from the Oklahoma side of things, but yeah, they made mistakes and kept Michigan alive a couple of times. And at the end of the day, it's an 11-point loss, like we said. You said something in there about quarterback run game. I'm going to get into that here in just a bit. I have a minute. I don't know if it's miniature. It might end up being somewhat substantial in terms of how long we'll talk about it. But the run game with Bryce, the lack of run game with Bryce, I should say. I think Michigan only tried to run him one time. I mean, there was like one zone read keeper that he kept, and if you watch it, it got absolutely blown up. I don't know what any of the linemen were doing.
On our own goal line, right?
Yeah, they didn't block anybody, and he got stopped for a maybe 2-3 yard loss. And then I think he was sacked once or twice, and that was the total of his. I think he had 3 carries in the game, and 2 of them were sacks. And then the one was a complete busted play. Nobody got blocked, and the read. There wasn't even a read to make. The guy just came in and tackled him. It was over before it even started. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But at the end of the day now, Michigan still does have all of its goals in front of them. That was not a Big Ten game. We know that you can make a run and get into the playoffs with 2 losses. I mean, like, the season's not over. I'm not pushing the panic button. I'm not ready to say the sky is falling. But that is a game that I think a lot of people were hoping, they would cut Bryce Underwood loose a little bit more, whether it was with his legs or whether it was with passes downfield. I mean, you've got a Ferrari in the garage, man, and you're kind of treating him like an escort. No disrespect to my escort owners out there. My parents had a bunch of them growing up, but anyway, like, I just feel like they're not using him that well. That's part of what I'm going to get into with Sherrone Moore's quotes from Monday with the run game. But I just don't know. Like, I know he's young, man. I know he's a true freshman. I know that was start number 2, start number 1 on the road in a very, very hostile environment against an extremely seasoned quarterback. I know John Mateer is new to Oklahoma, but that dude's played a lot of football. He's got some moxie about him. He knows when to make a play. He knows when to go get it. I feel like Bryce has that in him, but it hasn't been on display yet. And it feels like the coaches are really telling him, like, don't do that. Like, I get that sense. I mean, Sherrone was publicly open, and I'm okay with this one, but you remember the block that Bryce Underwood threw in the first game where he threw his throwing shoulder into a guy, kind of blindsided to spring Justice Haynes for a touchdown. Sherrone was like, yeah, don't ever do that again. And I'm like, he's out there making a play for his guys. I can get on board a little bit. You don't want your quarterback throwing a lot of blocks, especially with his throwing arm. But I'm just starting to sense a little bit of a theme here where they're protecting Bryce a little too much. Do you think that's happening? Is that a real thing? And how different do you think it could or should look with what everybody knows is an elite talent? It hasn't quite looked like that yet because of maybe what he's being asked to do or told not to do. But where do you fall on Bryce Underwood's usage at this point through 2 games? Now, again, it's only 2 games, but the last one was a big one. Like, that was a big one. And if you're not going to do it then, I don't know when you do it.
Yeah. And I agree completely with you. To your point, say last game is, say we're playing Central Michigan and it's a close game and Bryce doesn't run a lot. We end up winning. I can see coaches saying, hey, we didn't need that situation. We didn't need Bryce in those situations in this type of game. We felt we had it under control. But when your ultimate goal is to win, you want to use all your resources available. And I feel like Michigan didn't do that. Everyone says, and Bryce has gone on saying that, hey, I'm a pocket passer. I want to be a thrower first. And that's great and all, but when you can't throw the football, you gotta rely on your God-given ability, and that's being able to use your legs, being able to be athletic. I mean, he had one scramble where he went through the middle and got 4 or 5 yards and barely got touched. Like, there's different ways to go about it, and that's whether that has to be practice and learning how to anticipate a hit, learning how to take a hit, learning how to slide. Like, those are things we need to train so that when we get into situations like Oklahoma or late November and we have Ohio State and our run game is shut down and then our pass game is shut down, we have to have an answer. That having the 11th man in the run game is so vital. I mean, you could see it with what Mateer did versus us. And Bryce had a few quarterback runs. I would say the one that we saw got stuffed. He had some read option stuff, but Venables, I mean, they had 2+ on the outside, and every time he was reading it to keep it, I mean, those guys were sitting on Bryce heavy. So, like, I understand Bryce is reading those and not taking those. But when you look at what Mateer did and Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, they incorporate Mateer as the 11th man in the run game. So it's quarterback design run with the triple option off of him. He can either hand the ball off, or if he doesn't do that, he's keeping it, and then he's pressing the line of scrimmage. And then if everyone sucks in, he's got options. He can throw it to the swing route to the running back. They had one of those that converted a first down, or he could look backside and read backside. So there's different options and different opportunities like that. We really didn't have an answer. Our defense is covering the running back, covering the flats, and then Mateer's wide open in the lane. And I know it's different systems, and Chip Lindsey, and Ben Arbuckle are 2 different people. But football is a copycat game. And if you see something that works and you think your guy can do it, go ahead and try to implement that. And it's not hard stuff. It's, hey, if the linebacker attaches to the running back, keep the ball. If he doesn't, throw it and make a quick, simple decision. And when you look at the quarterback design run, the quarterback RPO read option game, Oklahoma versus Michigan, Oklahoma had layers. They had options. It felt like when we were doing it, even when we went to throw it, I mean, they had 3 over 3 for our bubbles, for our screens. Like they had everything pretty much covered. So the answers for Bryce, almost as if like he got a test, but Chip Lindsey didn't give him chapters 7 through 8 to read. Like, hey, we're just not gonna we're gonna get to those eventually, and then we get to the game and we need chapter 7 and 8. Like, we need to know what the conclusion is. So I kind of feel like Bryce, and I don't think he played bad. And I want to say they did protect him, kind of to wrap this all up and answer your question. It definitely seemed like they were in the game mode of, hey, let's try to win this game on the ground with Justice Haynes and with our defense. And when that wasn't happening, we really just didn't have answers. And I think, to your question, to wrap this up, we saw on the first or second drive, Bryce throws an inside fade route versus cover 3. And I want to say, in my intuition, when coaches saw that, they shut it down. They were like, hey, he's maybe not seeing it. They're disguising it well, because it looked like a true cover 1 look. Corner press, that's when you throw that inside fade to the slot receiver. That's when you have your leverage. But cornerback bailed out, and he was a step away from intercepting it. And we really didn't see much downfield attacking after that. So I want to say that's kind of what maybe sheltered and had the coaches kind of, hey, let's try to get this on the ground. Let's let our defense do what they do. And it just didn't work out in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, the coaches are in it. They're on the front lines. They're trying. Look, I don't think for 1 second that they're not trying to win. I mean, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing to even say or think. But at times, I'm with you. It's like, not.
And then too, how much of last year do you think? I know Chip Lindsey wasn't here, but he definitely saw it from afar. How much of last year's situation at quarterback too do you think plays into their we really can't lose Bryce, or we might lose our jobs. Like, this is, a lot is right on this kid. It's better if he plays and we stay competitive versus pushing that needle, losing him, and then losing maybe 4 games that we shouldn't have lost. Like, what is that balance,
I mean, these guys do have a real life outside of football. Like you said, you get fired and then all of a sudden you're moving your family again. I mean, there is that element to it. You kind of hit on several points there, Grant, that I've been thinking about. One of them is, the way that you use the quarterback in the run game. It doesn't have to just be zone reads. You can do QB power. You can do draws. You can do outside on the edge thing. You can move the pocket with a scramble pass option. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get a guy out and use his legs. That doesn't have to be just zone read behind, because I think you're right. I mean, we only saw it once where he actually kept it, but there were other opportunities where he had a read look, and Oklahoma seemed to be like, we're not going to let this young kid run around. Like, we're just not going to let him do it. It just wasn't really there. But I mean, on the flip side, when you watch John Mateer carry it 19 times for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns against a very good Michigan defense with athletic linebackers and a stout front 4, there's ways to do it. And I just feel like a lot of times some of the schemes that Michigan had weren't putting players in a position to succeed. I mean, I talked about on our Big Ten episode, Justice Haynes getting his head knocked off on a little bubble screen where I don't know if it was a miscommunication, if Samaj Morgan didn't get the right play, because it looked like he had a clean opportunity to block somebody, and instead he kind of just phantom block and spun it off into a wheel route up the side. I don't know what that really was supposed to be, but Justice Haynes got annihilated, didn't even want help up from his teammates, looked frustrated. Several of the other East-West plays you talk about didn't work, got tackled at or behind the line of scrimmage. It was a disjointed approach. And the quarterback run thing, this will get me into my little bit of a rant here, and I'll certainly get your opinion and your take on this a little bit too, but the quarterback run thing, and it's not the be-all, end-all. Like, I'm not saying run Bryce 25 times a game moving forward. Like, what are you doing? Because he is a pocket passer. He is an elite arm talent. He wants to stay in the pocket and throw it around, and he's shown the ability to do that at a high level. I mean, deep outs, tight windows, down the field. He's got the arm to do it all with ease. But I couldn't help but wonder, he ran it literally 1 time. Like I said, on paper, he had 3 carries, I think, for negative yards, whatever it was, because he got sacked a couple times. And there was that one zone read keeper that got blown up. So I was curious. Sherrone Moore was asked about it, and I'm going to read his quote. I'm just going to read it word for word. It's not super long. But somebody at the press conference asked Sherrone whether Bryce has the ability to scramble or not, or does he have the ability to run? Are you going to turn him loose? And this is what Sherrone said. He said, yeah, he does. We will at some point, But if you run your quarterback, you better have two. And I've always believed that. Even did that with JJ. JJ wanted to run every game, and I was like, no, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. We will, and I think there's parts of that we tried to in that game. They were just pretty good at not letting us. I would agree with that. That's about the only thing I agree with so far that he said. I do think Oklahoma did a pretty good job of keying on that because they didn't want him to run. And I think there's ways we can get him to run in different ways and make sure he's protected. So we'll work that as we go game by game and have a strategy for that. That's, to me, that's a lot of words of saying we're probably not really going to do it. Like, if you don't do it in that Oklahoma game, I don't know when you're going to feel the need to do it. You're not going to do it against Central this weekend. And if you do and it works, like, cool. Like, Bryce could probably, he's going to be more athletic than most of the players they have on their team. So this got me thinking, Grant, and this is where I'm gonna rattle off a bunch of stuff here. I know you're just kind of sitting there right now. I apologize.
No, I'm excited for this. I'm ready. Lay it on me.
I'll get you back in the mix as soon as possible here.
Take your time.
I have 20 names, okay? 20 quarterback names from just this Saturday. I'm not going to read all their stats, but I'm going to rattle off every single name. And this is not like, I didn't go try to find like UL Monroe or like Tulane and just say like, here's a random quarterback no, these are big name guys at big name programs that are extremely valuable to what their team is trying to do. And every single one of these guys carried the ball more than Bryce Underwood on Saturday. Some were in big matchups, some were not. But the point is, there's coordinators and coaches out there who know how to do this, and I can't quite figure out why Sherrone Moore doesn't know how to. Saying the words like, no, you're not going to run to JJ. We need to protect you. If you're going to run your quarterback, you better have two. In the words of urban philosopher Young Jeezy, scared money don't make money, Grant. You can't play scared in football, man. Bryce Underwood is 6'4", 230 pounds, and one of the best quarterback recruits to come out of high school in a long time. He's playing football at Michigan. He might get tackled sometimes. I think that's okay. Like, I don't understand the approach. I'm with you. If he gets dinged and you got to go back to the quarterback room, it's not going to be good. But I just don't think you can create a game plan to try to avoid, let's hope Bryce doesn't get hurt this Saturday. I just don't agree with that approach. And I who else wouldn't agree with that approach? Bryce Underwood. He would not agree with that. Grant, you played at this level. You don't ever want a coach to tell you, we're not going to do that with you because we're worried about what might happen. Right? Am I right? I mean, you would never want to hear that from your coach.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, you want to, I mean, if it helps the team win, I mean, and 98% of the guys, when I played, thought like me, like, you're going to do whatever coach wants you to do. You're going to try to take that extra step. You're going to take that extra hit as long as it's in the direction of a win, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the list of names again. I'm just going to rattle through this quickly, and then there's a couple that I want to talk about. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. All of these guys carried the ball more than Bryce on just this Saturday. So I mean, again, we only have 2 games this season, but I think it's starting to feel like a trend. And when I hear that quote from Sherrone Moore, like this is just what it's going to be. I feel like Gunnar Stockton, Arch Manning, Lenora Sellers, Luke Altmaier at Illinois had a long rush of 25. Mensa, I can't remember his first name. Is it Darian Mensa? For Duke. Sam Levitt. I mean, that dude's got an NFL future. He's out there running the ball for Arizona State. Byron Brown from South Florida. He carried it 17 times for 66 yards. That's a big part of what he does. He's 6'3", 230. Sound familiar? It's the same size as Bryce Underwood. DJ Lagway. Tommy Castellanos for Florida State. Didn't do it a lot last week, but guess what? Against Alabama, he carried it 16 times for 78 yards and a score. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. Okay? John Mateer, think he did pretty good against Michigan running the ball. He's 6'1", 220. Kevin Jennings for SMU, big part of what he does. This one really stuck out to me. Marcel Reed. No, I know he's for Texas A&M. I know he's more of a dual threat. They do a lot of run game with him. He's a $185, Grant. A $185 playing in the SEC. Carried it 10 times for 66 yards and a score. Devin Dampier out at Utah. Caden Salter, $190 for Colorado. Runs it all over the place. Diego Pavia, another small guy. Kyron Drones for Virginia Tech. Hometown, Aiden Childs, built just like Bryce Underwood. They have a very similar build, kind of lanky. He's listed at 6'3", 225. A double overtime battle with Boston College. He carried it 12 times for 39 yards and a score and helped them get a win. I mean, he was a major reason why they got a win in that game because of his legs. Nico Iamaleava, Lanky is all get out. 6'6", probably 215, 11 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. Anthony Calandria, have you seen that dude at UNLV? He probably weighs $170 soaking wet holding a rock. He carried it 11 times for 59 yards. And then Damon Williams, our guy out at Washington, another small guy. That's a huge – I mean, I don't buy this. We got to protect him. We don't want him to get hit. If you're going to run him, you need to. Dude, miss me with that, man. There's 50 quarterbacks a week running the ball, and they're fine. Like, it's football, man. You're going to get hit a little bit. But to your point earlier, it's about how you do it. I'm not saying run Bryce Underwood up the middle into a loaded box 20 times. Scheme him ways where he gets 10 or 15 yards down the field before anybody even puts a hand on him. I see quarterbacks doing that all the time, week in, week out. Different offensives, different approaches, different schemes. I don't expect running to be the major part of what Bryce Underwood does. He's too good at throwing the ball. You got to have it, dude. You got to sprinkle it in. It's got to be part of what Michigan does. Or again, I think you're treating the Ferrari like an escort. I just don't understand the approach.
Yeah.
Grant.
I mean, and you got facts to back it up. You got evidence. You got teams all around the country, and you got teams that are arguably in a position where their quarterback is more valuable.
It's true.
Their team than Bryce is to us right now. And like
that's a good point. Like I said, I didn't rattle off random names that people have never. Those are the who's who of quarterbacks in the country. Like, those are the biggest teams out there.
Yeah, and a lot of those teams were in very similar situations. USF down there at Florida trying to get a win, beating a home team that's ranked higher, that's higher ranked than you. Arizona State trying to avoid an upset. Like those teams, they were in very similar situations to what we were in, and I think that I don't know. I think it all falls back. I think in a perfect world, they really wanted Bryce to be holding the clipboard this year with and behind somebody that they believed that could win, could develop Bryce, show him the ropes. But we're here now. Bryce is the guy. $2-4 million, however much he's making, right? That everyone's bringing that up now, especially after the win. But like you said, I think when your offense doesn't have a downfield pass game, when the run game from a standpoint of dominated line of scrimmage isn't what it used to be, I mean, I just don't understand why you wouldn't explore every avenue. And I got to say, though, formationally in this Oklahoma game, didn't love what we did. A lot of condensed formations, a lot of making the picture hard for Bryce. Safeties could play low. Cornerbacks are the edge players, nice and low, right at the line of scrimmage. Like they didn't help Bryce's looks, and that was more so for the pass game. But when they don't feel threatened by you from the quarterback position, from your legs, like they're going to play low, especially when the pass game isn't working. They're going to crowd the box. Like we need answers, and maybe I don't know. I got to go back and look through Chip's system. Like maybe his quarterback run game just isn't at the position to where other teams are. Like Ben Arbuckle's. I mean, that thing was fantastic. The variations, the quarterback counter, the power, like they were doing it. And I mean, there was a drive the second half talking about formations for Michigan. They said, screw it. We're gonna see what Wink's doing. We're not gonna even play. They came out and emptied the whole drive. They just said, you know what, show your cards. Like we're gonna adjust. And I just didn't see that from Michigan. Like you didn't see the adjustments. You kind of just saw the same. Hey, let's try to beat it between the tackles, even though we don't have the Gentrys of the world. The old the Barnharts and all the other the guys that built that Joe Moore award line. So I would say Michigan's at an identity crisis, and from here is you got an opportunity to start paving a new identity, working in a new system, not a new system, but work in new folds to that system, whether it's quarterback design runs for Bryce in short yardage situations, like get him comfortable with that and let him know, hey, if you're the quarterback of Michigan and you want to win, we have to do this. And look around. I mean, you tried to throw to Donovan McCulley 2 times and cover 0, and we missed both times. So we got to have other options here, and that's what you want them to say. But to your point, you just hope that they are, and you don't know if they are because of what they've been saying. And hey, we're not. You better have 2 quarterbacks, or you're not going to have one. It just feels scared, and towards the end of the year last year, it felt like, hey, We just beat Ohio State. We're beating Bama. Like, there wasn't a care in the world. Kind of like, hey, we're out here flying around. We're having fun. Like, who cares if we lose or win? Like, let's go play our hardest. And it kind of feels like this year it's tight. It's stressed. It's, hey, let's not make a mistake. Let's punt the ball. Let's give it to our defense. Let's not let the freshmen make any mistakes. Let's go out there and leave it all out there, man. And I thought there was some stuff left off the table.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've talked about that as well. I mean, the 4th and 1s, and you punt it, and you net gain of 15 yards of field position. I mean, like, you want to run out there with 7-8 offensive linemen and pound the ball all over the place, and you get 4th and 1, and you can't go for it. I mean, you got a 230-pound quarterback, man. Run a sneak. I don't even like quarterback sneak, but like, he's probably going to get it. You said something else too, rant. I'm going to reinvigorate the rant just a little bit here. This is my last thing. You mentioned the money side of things, because I've seen that as well. Like, well, you can't pay a quarterback $10 million and then run him a bunch and get him hurt. Well, you can, because we see it every Sunday in the NFL. 3 of the best games. I mean, such an early part of the NFL season, week 1. Excuse me. 3 of the best games from the entire weekend. You may have heard of these guys before, Grant. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams. Now, look, I understand. Josh Allen's the biggest quarterback in the NFL, I think. He's 6'5", 237. And Lamar Jackson might be the best running quarterback to ever play the game. Patrick Mahomes, that's the golden boy. I mean, his right arm is worth $10 billion. He's not really a runner, but he's athletic enough. He's Bryce Underwood's not Patrick Mahomes. Please don't twist my words. But he's like Bryce in that he wants to stay in the pocket, make big plays with his arm, and he's got a magical arm.
But he keeps his eyes downfield even when he's outside the pocket. Just how Bryce gets outside the pocket, those Oklahoma defender steps up, he gets for that 34-yard pass.
But he's athletic enough to make plays with his feet. And in that huge game against the Chargers where they're going back and forth, he carried the ball 6 times for 57 yards and a score. Justin Herbert carried it 7 times for 32 yards, including the game-clinching long scramble, and he slid into a win, basically. JJ is listed at 219. He might not be. He even had a couple carries for 25 yards and a touchdown, by the way, where he put his head down and plowed into the end zone late in that 4th quarter for a win. Caleb Williams was running all over the field. We know Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are going to run, but Josh Allen had 14 carries for 30 yards and 2 scores. My point is, who's more valuable to their team than those 6 guys? There's ways to do it. And to say you don't run unless you got 2 quarterbacks, we're going to protect them, we don't want them to get hit or tackled, I cannot get on board with that approach. And I'm not saying you start running Bryce Underwood 20 times a game and suddenly you're going to be unstoppable. That's not what I'm saying. But we saw in the exact same game against Oklahoma, John Mateer being used as a runner when it mattered and making plays, keeping his offense on the field and getting in the end zone and leading to a win. And so it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to see it, and now in twofold to hear Sherrone defend it really and explain why we're not going to run the quarterback. And again, I don't really expect to see it this weekend against Central. And if they do run him, I would expect him to have success with it, but it wouldn't mean that much to me in that setting. And again, if you don't do it last week against Oklahoma, I don't really know when you do it. So I don't know. That's some of the numbers I scraped together. And look, I listed 20 quarterbacks, and no, not all 20 of them carried it 20 times for 50-plus yards and a score. But of those 20, Grant, that I listed, 9 of them had double-digit carries. John Mateer had the high mark, actually, with 19 carries. Kyron Drones had 13. I don't know if that's actually his first name. That might be an old player I'm naming there. Sorry about that. 14 carries for the Jennings kid at SMU. 12 carries for Aiden Chiles. So again, not everybody in that list is running at double-digit times, but 9 of them did. And a bunch of them scored touchdowns. And every single person on this list, Grant, except for DJ Lagway, is listed as lighter than Bryce Underwood. So, and I know that's not everything, but we're not talking about a small dude. He can play football. He can get tackled a couple times. Like, he'll be all right.
100%. I know this is totally different, but I had the chance to call his game, his senior year opening game in high school, and they played Clarkston. And we went into that game thinking it was going to be a blowout. Just athletically, Belleville had the advantage. And it turned out to be a really good game. Clarkston had a good defensive plan, and they really took away a lot of quick game and downfield passing. And in the second half, Bryce, talk about complete one-man takeover. Yes, everyone has to block and do their job, but talk about a one-man takeover. Him in the running game, I mean, he might have had 200 yards in the second half, and it was just quarterback design run, read one guy, and then make a move. And like, I know we're talking about Clarkston and Belleville High School, but what do you look at when you recruit and scout? Like, you're looking at the film, you're seeing what he's good at. He knows how to run in space. Like, we're not asking him to run explosive play after explosive play. Like, hey, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2. Let's keep the defense on their toes. Let's incorporate you here and there so that we may have a better option. So let's say, hey, this time it looks like we're going to give it to you, but it's the running back, right? And just be able to help the defense in those situations and keeping them off the field and keeping those long drives. Because if we want to be the identity of hard nose, ground and pound, it starts with long drives, burning clock, and keeping your defense off the field.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, okay, if he can run for 200 yards against Clarkston in high school, he can probably go get 30 in college, I mean, and move the chains, keep drives alive, get a score in the red zone where things get extremely congested and hard to put it in the end zone. I mean, like, I mean, I'm with you, dude. I mean, there's a reason why he was the number 1 recruit in the country. You can label him however you want. He's plenty athletic enough to run it a lot. I mean, if he was in a system where running the ball with the quarterback was option number 1, he could do it. But he's too good with his arm to do that. So, like, you've got the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You need to use them both. And I just we haven't seen that, and I'm not convinced that we will. And I just feel like that could be a real waste of his talents and what he's able to do. All right. Lots of stuff about Oklahoma, lots of stuff about the run game. Let's talk about CMU for just a couple minutes. Michigan's expected to win by a lot. They are favored by 27.5 per FanDuel. So, the Chip's not coming in with a lot of hopes to win the game, but they do employ, Grant, a 3-quarterback system, which is very rare for 3 quarterbacks to play, and it's because all 3 of them do something pretty differently. I got them pulled up right here. The typical, most traditional starter, senior transfer from Iowa is Joey Labus. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's kind of the passer. He's a little bit more traditional. You've got Angel Flores, a transfer from Northern Arizona. He's a little bit smaller, but he's very athletic. He's going to get out into open space. He's going to make some plays with his legs. He's going to be the guy that could be trouble in open field. And then they have Jaden Glasser. He's the big fella. He's the power quarterback, the running him up the middle on 3rd and 2, on 4th and 1, on goal line. So they use all 3 of these guys. I watched the entire game that Central played against San Jose State for their season opener, and all 3 of them are effective at times. Like, I expect Michigan to be far more athletic, faster on defense, bigger on the front line. But this is just untraditional. This is just something you don't typically have to prepare for, 3 different quarterbacks that are all going to play. Do you see it being any bit of a problem for Michigan, or is this spread number where it needs to be? And do you think Michigan can show some dominance and get a big win?
Yeah, I think the spread is warranted. I think it's going to be trying to be unbiased here. I think I watched their game, Central's game versus Pitt, and I saw the rotation of quarterbacks and Joe, number 2, their main guy, who they want to throw. Decent quarterback, nothing stands out. Like, I mean, they let the other guys throw too, and
yeah,
a lot of them, all of them had misses. So I don't feel threatened by anyone in particular. And then when you look at them all in the run game, none of them are burners. None of them are John Mateer, as far as being able to avoid tackles. Like, I really feel like our D-line should have a field day. Looking at their O-line, I mean, they rotated a bunch of guys as well on their O-line in that game. So they got a lot of question marks on their offense. I think, especially with the way the defense, they played well last week, but there were some things they wanted to clean up. And facing another team that wants to run the quarterback, I got to imagine that Wink and that crew are going to really pin their ears back. Like I said, I came out and said I think Michigan holds them to 50 or less yards rushing, and I think if all plays well, I think they score 7 or less. I think like the athletic matchup, it just is heavily in our favor.
Yeah, there's no doubt. By the way, Pitt did win by 28, so Pitt would have covered this spread, 27.5. So you'd have to hope that Michigan can. I know it's not all about the spread, but that just gives you something to go off of. Michigan's expected to win big.
And you want to see that because, I mean,
yeah, no doubt.
Biggest test, next biggest test coming up the following week.
At Nebraska is not a joke, and I got to get.
You felt a lot better prior to week 2 than going to Nebraska. Now it's like shit. Dylan Raiola can throw that football. They got some new receivers that
They're
it's
gonna
be a good game.
They're going to go body for body when it comes to size and athletic. Nebraska gets good players. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. This weekend it's Central Michigan. It's noon. It's in the Big House. Michigan expected to win big. We will see how that one plays out. 3 quarterbacks, unique for CMU. But, yeah, Michigan should have a decided advantage just about everywhere on the field. And we will see if Michigan can cover that 27.5-point spread as per FanDuel. He's Grant Perry. I'm Brandon Brown. We'll be back next week to talk the results of this Central Michigan game, and to jump into that game at Nebraska, that it's looming, Grant. It's looming right now. Michigan looked a little disheveled. Nebraska's looked okay. Got a decent win in the season opener against Cincinnati on the road. So we'll see what this looks like. Again, thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back next week.